911.
We ready? We're live?
We got it. I think we're
all the
here.
way live, baby.
Hello? Is this
Whoa,
thing
whoa,
on?
whoa, 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 whoa,
Check one,
whoa,
two.
whoa. You know what time it is. You know what time it is. You know what time it is. It's R-double-E-L Vile time, babies. Ow! You know, because we got my main man, the sinister, the prime minister, Mr. Ruthless Chris.
Hey.
Testing 1, 2. This thing on. How y'all doing?
That's what I'm
I
talking
just said
about.
that.
That's what I'm talking about. Then we got the thriller, no filler, Mr. Mrs. You know who I'm talking about. Kelly, the killer, Miller.
Hey, girls. Hey.
You just say, hey, girl, hey.
Yes. Hey, girls.
It's ladies' night, apparently. We're all ladies tonight.
It's ladies' night.
Oh, what a night.
Oh, what a night. We're some hairy ladies. We're some hairy ladies, baby. And you know who I am. I'm Mr. G to the E to the R to the M. The T stands for the. And of course, I'm about to rip it up in a modern way. That's right. It's Mr. Germ 2 Ripper. And it's time to get on with Real Vile. Ooh, baby, baby. What y'all been up to? Let's go with you, Mr. Ruthless Chris. What's new and exciting in your world, baby?
I have just been mostly. Did we lose Kelly? Mostly hard at work, setting up these shows, these Jersey shows in Chicago. We're going to be out there your way there, Ripper with Ruthless. Aside from that, Kelly and I watched a couple flicks. We went and saw Cocaine Bear, which was quite the experience. I'm sure we'll get into that when we get to our main movie, which it is Cocaine Bear. But yeah, Kelly and I went through some weird stuff. Going to see Cocaine Bear almost didn't happen. That was a fun day. I had to sneak in snacks. We had to sneak in more snacks than we had pockets or room for because.
First, we live in Toledo. We tried to drive to the Monroe Theater in Monroe, Michigan, which is like, I don't know, a good half hour away, 20 minutes, half hour
20
away.
minutes.
No, yeah, about 20 minutes. And that was when all the Michigan power outages were going on. So we drive all the way the fuck up there, and there's like no stoplights. And it like dawns on us, and we're like, oh shit, power's out up here. So we drive all the way the fuck to Monroe, and then drive all the way back to Toledo, and then we drive south. It like probably the exact same distance to Perrysburg outside of Toledo because Krista hates our mall. The other movie
I
theater.
do. I hate our mall. The way the bus system is set up, like kids just ride up to the mall and they hang out there all fucking day. Anytime you go to see a movie, there's just kids movie hopping and throwing popcorn and talking and shit, and it bugs the hell out of me. I hate seeing movies there, which is why I tried to talk her to go to this Monroe Street Mall to begin with, because that's one that's got the recliners and the heat, and you
Free
got
refills.
the nice cup holder. You got free refills for your drink. It's real luxury shit up there.
And you're usually the only one in the theater, which is sad.
As opposed to this mall slumming shit she's always trying to do. Of course, I don't want to go to the fucking. I spit on your mouth. Fuck out of here.
So yeah, that was an adventure. Plus, I had a hangover from fucking hell, dude. I haven't drank since then. It was disgusting.
Oh yeah, she was super hungover, and I'm still off the booze, so I was like nudging her, like just like fucking with her. But then we bought way too many snacks. Then we had pockets. So at one point, I even had a McDonald's double cheeseburger under my my skull cap to get it in, and I had like pockets full of chicken nuggets and jerky and
dude, he sounded like a walking chip bag, like.
Like I was in like sweats and a hoodie and just this, and she's carrying the smallest purse known to man. I had no snack room to store over there.
Well, I had my snacks in there too.
No, so, yeah, that's what I was up to.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah,
Long
Well, ooh
dick.
la la. I'm so glad that, all your adventures paid off and you got to watch our feature movie for the day, Mr. Cocaine Bear. Actually, Mrs. Cocaine Bear. I am sorry, Mrs. Cocaine Bear. That is a lady right there, baby. You better respect
I'm not a
her.
cocaine bear.
She was a mother. Okay.
She was a mother.
Two very cute. You know, we gotta wait till we get to the spoiler section before I
All
start
right, all
talking
right.
about the brood.
That's legit. Can't quit, baby. You know what I'm saying. You know, I haven't been up to too much myself, just, working and working and working and sleeping. And that's about it, baby. I'm just glad to be here with both of y'all. And we're about to talk about some movies. So why don't we get on to that? What have you been watching lately, Mr. Ruthless Chris?
So the other day, Kelly and I were hanging out and we had some time to watch a movie. So I just kind of started going through Tubi. And lately I've been really I'll just watch some dog shit right now. Like I'm really just in the mood for some horse shit. So I came across a movie called Shark Side of the Moon, as
Oh yeah.
opposed to Dark Side of the Moon, Shark Side of the Moon, and we played that thing sight on scene. And boy, oh boy, did we get some dog shit! But it was a very fun dog shit.
I'm just thinking of that one shark, and the guy's like, "What about that dude?" And he's just like, I'm sorry.
What you have, uh, mixed deep blue sea with the show
Crying.
Street Sharks in space.
I'm crying.
You got some Russian scientists are working on these super soldiers that are actually sharks with buff arms and legs. And they get out of a containment duct. So in order to contain them, they shuffle them all onto a rocket and shoot them into space.
This is in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, this is pre-credits fever room.
Yeah.
They get to space. Then we go, what was it, like 40 years into the future. And another rocket team's going up to space. And they get there. The sharks, they got a bit of a tremor situation. They can go under the sand of
Land
the
shark.
moon. Shark hanging up. They got big buff arms and legs. But not only that, they have like a city that they built. They have like mech armor. There's one with mech armor and a thin neck running around. This was a silly movie in the best possible way. Go into it if you want like utter crap, but like you just want some dog shit. It's a lot of real bad CGI. This is a Tubi original. I liked it. I had some fun with it. Like it's bad, but it's fun bad. The main villain is the most ridiculous thing I've ever fucking seen in a long goddamn time. There's some with lasers and jetpacks. For some reason, they live amongst piping hot liquid magma on the moon. I haven't looked into it, but I don't think that's the thing. Is there magma on the moon? Is there lava? Like there was a lot of lava in that movie.
There may have been at one time.
But this was now. This was now. So yeah, Shark Side of the Moon, 3 out of 5. Fucking Tubi original.
You forgot to mention the half shark, half human baby.
Oh yeah, there's a woman with gills, and
There's some shark banging interspeed. Well, the sharks aren't exactly sharks. They're humans. They're hybrids.
they got arms and legs, but there's a scientist that banged a shark. There's a little shark lady. They all have spears. It's really weird.
Shark baby.
Shark Side of the Moon. It's fun. It's a fun fucking movie.
Yeah, we laughed a lot. It's
Like,
bad.
it's bad.
Bad CGI. The fucking the like dialogue was so fucking stupid.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The fact that somebody sat at a computer and they use these to type up those words, that makes me smile. That was a fun one.
Yeah.
Kelly, if you had to give Shark Side of the Moon a star rating, what would you give it?
I think 3's fair. It's a fun one. Don't expect it to be good. It's fucking not, but it is. It's utterly hilarious. It's pretty bad.
Well, baby, sometimes that's all you need.
You
Sometimes
know.
that's all you need is some wacky, hilarious, bad moviness just to get you through, just to have some fun. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. It's
Well,
good bad.
what's the first one you're gonna talk about there, Killer Kelly?
This one, I was looking for some time travel movies, and I stumbled across this one here on Tubi, 2022. It's called Shifter. It was written and directed by Jacob Leighton Burns. Um, Follows this girl. She's kind of like a homebody, kind of socially awkward sort of person. Her name's Teresa. She's lives out in the country, very rural sort of area. Or yeah, when she was little, she discovered early on that she was really good with mechanics and like taking shit apart and like tinkering with shit and making shit. Well, as she's older, after her dad passes away, because she grew up with her dad in this farmhouse, and she has the house to herself. She's been tinkering and she invented a time machine in her barn. Well, she uses it once, for the stupidest reason. I'm not going to go into why, but it was a really dumb reason to use your time machine for the first time. But, she found out it worked. So I guess that's what matters. The problem with this is every time she doesn't know how to control it. Now that she's went in time, she can't control going in time. She just like randomly going back. She just keeps randomly going back in time, like without being in the time machine.
So we got
And
like a quantum leap situation.
yeah, kind of. But as she does, like she runs into more hers. So it becomes like a multiple sort of universe, like there's a lot of hers in different time zones. She's like, oh, it's interesting. And another problem is the more she jumps time or shifts through time, she deteriorates a little bit more and a little bit more. So she starts getting like real gross and shit by the end of it. Yeah, I liked this one. I thought it was pretty sweet, man. You can tell it was definitely a low budget, but they did good for what it was. They didn't go too much into, I don't know, things you can't really do without CGI and shit like that. But it was good. I enjoyed this one. Shifter 2022. I'd probably give it about a 3.5 for what it was. It was an enjoyable time travel movie and a different concept that I never really, seen in time travel movies.
That sounds like a lot of fun, baby. Time traveling, that can be a wacky, movie. It can be a wacky time traveling through time, bumping into yourself, seeing what's happening. So was it action packed? Was there some horror? Was it
some horror? It was kind of sci-fi horror for sure.
Very nice. We call that a genre film, right? We got all kinds of genres all mashed up together, and that's what we'll be covering over here. A real Vile. We talk about everything, baby. As long as it's sleazy, as long as it's weird. We like it weird, baby. So 3.5 out of 5, you say?
Yeah.
All right. And you say it's on Tubi?
Tubi.
I like it. I love it. Give me more of it, baby. Ow. Well, the first movie I'm going to talk about is 1993's Action Mutante, or otherwise known as Mutant Action. I believe that this is Alex de la Iglesia's first film. I'm pretty damn sure of that. And it's about takes place in the future, and the world is ruled by attractive people. And the mutant terrorists kidnap a rich man's daughter to claim rights for the ugly. Escaping the police, the mutant leader crashes into a planet of crazy miners where no women live. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Talking about wackiness. This was over and above all the craziness. It felt very 80s, post-apocalyptic world. It didn't really feel like a Spanish film either. It felt more like a Australian film with all the post-apocalyptic wackiness going on. Also with like the ugly people fighting the attractive people. It reminded me of Garbage Pail Kids the movie. Which I love personally. That's one of my favorites. So I was thoroughly entertained from beginning to end with the wacky hijinks of, and they're not even really like mutants. they're usually everybody in the mutant gang. Every one of them is more like just like a handicapped person or somebody with a disability. There's a Siamese twin person, and then there's somebody in a wheelchair, and then there's somebody with a really low IQ, but he's super strong. It's very funny and very politically incorrect. It's almost like the best way I could describe it is it's like Terry Gilliam directing a movie for trauma. And
Okay.
yeah, it's
Okay.
beautiful, it's stunning, it's stupid, it's really, really stupid. And if you're easily offended, it might offend you, but I don't think any of our listeners would be that person. I think our listeners would fully enjoy this movie. I mean, we talked about one of Alex de la Iglesias' films for our Christmas episode, Day of the Beast, which I think was his second or third film after this, because it was no, it was second film after this. Because I remember
Third film total. I'm sorry.
oh, okay, but a lot of the same cast that's in Action Mutante is in Day of the Beast. So there you go. It's definitely worth the watch, and because it is so much fun and so wacky, and reminded me of '80s films, and reminded me of Terry Gilliam and trauma and everything I love about movies, I gave it 5 stars. You know, I don't think it's streaming anywhere. I can't find it streaming anywhere. Although I swear I saw it available on Tubi at one time. I got a physical copy from Severn Films, but I definitely highly recommend, Mutant Action, aka Action Mutanta, because it's awesome. You guys, either of you seen this movie?
I don't think so. No.
No, but I've been wanting to. It's been on my list ever since first time I watched Day of the Beast because I was like, whatever the hell else this guy's made. And then I looked into the like his like filmography, and the cover of this thing is just hilarious. It's like a handicap sign, but the guy in the wheelchair has like a machine gun, and it just said like Action Mutants or some shit. And I was like, whatever that is, I need that in my life like yesterday.
Right. I jumped at the chance when Severn came out with the 4K UHD. I was like, fuck it. I love everything this man did. Like Alex de la Iglesia, he does no wrong. I can't live anything that he's done that I would not give at least a 4-star rating to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
absolutely. All right, next
Well,
one I'm going to talk about. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you. I just realized
I was just
stepped
gonna
on you
pass
there.
the mic to you, Ruthless Chris. So whatever, you know what you're doing. You know what's going on. Next on the Terror Train, Mr. Ruthless Chris. What you watch next?
So I've been doing this weird dimension slash Miramax rabbit hole of those like right around Scream movies. Because I've been finding them just fucking fascinating. I think people are gonna like look back at them as like its own version of the 80s, because like if you look at them, they're all kind of like this weird pack of movies that like just fit in just that time. Like they all use the same kind of special effects, like the fake looking people, like a lot of archetypes. Like it's a really fascinating time. So I rewatched The Faculty.
Oh, nice. That was a good one.
Yeah, Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah.
This one they thought was going to be the big next hit after I Know What You Did Last Summer, but he ended up making kind of a weird flick, and it didn't necessarily do that great at the box office. But I think out of all the ones that like I look back and watch like from this one was kind of like the most fun. Probably because it's Robert Rodriguez, but you got yourself a group of ragtag misfits in a school where all the teachers start acting weird. They start thinking that something's going on. They're all drinking a bunch of water. The cast in this is very Breakfast Club. You got the jock who's banging the hot cheerleader. You got the goth girl that everyone is calling a lesbian because they don't understand her. They got the nerd kid who's played by Elijah Wood. I forgot Elijah Wood was in this thing. Who's like the photography nerd.
Oh
That's
yeah, I
constantly
forgot he
getting
was in
beaten up.
that.
Like the opening scene of this thing where they introduce him, this kid gets beat up like 3 times. They elbow him in the nose. And then just in the background, it's not even like a scene that like adds anything, but just in the background, there's like 4 kids. And each one of them, like one has each leg, and then one has each arm, and they just run them balls first into the flagpole. And that just happens in the background. Poor Elijah Wood gets his balls destroyed.
I love Elijah.
You got and then you got Josh Hartnett in a haircut that has not aged well at all. Let me tell you what, my friends. They thought that this thing looked cool. What they did to this man was they gave him a bowl cut in the front, and then when it comes out by its ears, they gelled it out, and then they undercut and spiked the back of his hair to kind of like give it that like morning shag, and it just looks so laughably ridiculous the whole time. But he's like a drug peddling genius, cool kid who makes his own drug and sells it in these pens, which comes into play later. We've all seen The Faculty. I don't know why I'm explaining it this much. But for like that era of the weird teeny like Scream ones, this one's better than most. It has a lot to do with like aliens and cosmic horror kind of stuff, tentacles and droopy stuff. Weird cameo by Jon Stewart in this thing. It was a lot of fun. I liked this one. I liked it on the rewatch. I remember liking it when it came out. But then on the rewatch, I still had fun with them. Like it didn't put me in the same place where like I Know What You Did Last Summer 1 and 2 did, or the one I'm going to talk about later did. But yeah, I like The Faculty. The Faculty, I'll give it like 3.5, 4. It was definitely worth revisiting.
Yeah, yeah, it was a good one, and I love me some Elijah Wood. That was always one of the better ones. I like creature movies like that too. It had like an alien creature.
Yeah, it had a bunch of
Background.
creatures, and there
Hmm.
was a big cool one at the end that I forgot that they actually built a practical monster for at one point, because I
Nice.
remembered it all being CGI, but like they actually built a practical monster in this thing, and it looked really fucking cool.
Hell yeah.
I
Oh, and
feel like I
Usher,
gotta. I feel like I gotta rewatch this film.
yeah, I would recommend it. Like out of all those early or all that like the big boom of Dimension Miramax, that one sticks out. But I think it's just because it's a fucking Robert Rodriguez movie. He's like a cut above the rest of those guys that were making those movies.
Right. I remember the poster art and the trailer even kind of made it look like a post Scream slasher when it was far from that. I remember the first time I watched it, and I don't know if I've watched it since, was the first time I came to Chicago back in the summer of '99, or not summer of, was it the summer? I don't know. It was back in '99 before I moved out here. Um, yeah, so it's a good time though. It's a good time. I definitely give it a three as well. I'd give it a three. How about you, Kelly? What would you say you'd give the
Yeah,
Faculty?
I'd say three from what I remember at least. I also need to watch it again, but yeah, I don't remember this being bad.
The one thing I noticed I didn't pick up on the first time, and I don't know how I didn't pick up on this for probably because I didn't care because I was a teenager last time I saw this, but it's pretty much they took Invasion of the Body Snatchers and put it like shrunk it down as small as they possibly could and had it just happening in a school. So that it was really cool to look at it like that.
Hmm. I can see that.
Absolutely, positively, baby. How about you, Killer Kelly? What you been watching? What you got to talk about next, baby?
All right, this next one is one I stumbled across on Shutter. It's a Shutter original, 2021 Shook. This follows some it's like a slasher. It's a slasher movie. Um Follows some social media influencers. Very heavy on the dog killing. I did not like that in this. Yeah, yeah. I didn't know that going into it, or I probably would, but yeah. Um Mia, she's a social media influencer. Her and all her friends, like that's obviously all they care about. They're meeting at a shoot once, and one of their little friends dies. This is how the movie opens. So there's obviously like a killer about, like one of their friends gets murdered in a bathroom. And then Mia gets called by her sister, who has to go get some medical treatment, the same sort of medical treatment that like killed, or she has the same sort of disease or whatever that killed her mom. I don't know, within the year before. And you can tell there's some like animosity there for Mia really not like caring about what happened. But anyway, she's supposed to go to her mom's old house and watch the dog Chico. Uh, in the midst of there's a dog killer running around, the Southland dog killer who's just been like killing people's dogs. Yeah, it's fucked up. They should. Yeah,
Do dog killers get like a nickname, like a serial killer? Like,
I guess
are the
so.
cops connecting the dots on the pattern to be like, we got the Dogland Ripper? Like,
The Southland dog killer.
like
Yeah,
there's
but
just like
that's
a,
what
like
he's
a
become
grizzled guy
dubbed
in a
as.
trench coat connecting the dots on what happened to people's terriers.
So, yeah. So while she's watching Chico, she's not really giving a fuck. She's on her phone the whole time, and Chico's off doing a thing. And she starts getting these calls. It turns into some sort of like a Scream sort of situation, you know? Scream kind of mixed with Saw, I guess, like Diet Saw, I suppose. But she's got to do all these things, or they're gonna kill her friends. And then later it gets you kind of questioning, like, is this even real? Is this happening? Who is this? So it becomes like a murder mystery slasher kind of Saw. It was all right though. I didn't hate it. There was a lot of twists and turns in it, minus the dog killing. They could have found something better than the dog killing. Not cool with that. But I don't know, it wasn't terrible. I'd give it about a 3. You know, a little better than middle. It was a little fast paced, good kills, twisty and turny, but it wasn't like awesome, you know? Yeah. Decent watch.
Very nice. Very nice. I'll say it twice because it's twice as nice. Baby, I feel like your description of the movie, I feel like I've seen it, but at the same time, I can't remember if I've seen it or not. And it came out since I've been sober, so it should
you
be.
have seen it apparently because I kind of looked it up out of curiosity why she was talking about it, and you rated it on Letterboxd. Apparently, you liked it enough to give it 3.5.
Oh shit! Well,
Yeah.
thank you. Well, thank you for looking it up, brother, because I don't remember watching it. That's not a good sign, but yeah, I must have liked it enough to give it 3.5. So I'll stick with that rating since that's what I gave it on Letterboxd. I'll say it was 3.5, baby. Ow.
Yeah, I never even heard of this, so
I just stumbled across it like, I don't know. I like those like the social media or like internet killer movies sometimes. I don't know. Weird.
That was very
Weird.
topical, very topical.
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
So it makes sense.
There's quite a few of them. They're becoming more popular. Pugman, I'm doing a podcast.
I was like, what is that? What is that little monster? He's coming in to lick your face.
her dog is more like a beetle.
Like a beetle?
Yeah, it's not a dog, it's a beetle. It's Skitters.
Chris calls him Bugman.
Yeah, it's Bugman.
Well, I'll read all right now, babies. I'm going to move this train along. I'm going to talk about the next one I got to talk about. Ooh la la. I know you both seen it. I know you both talked about it, but I wasn't on board the terror train at the time. This one I loved. Ooh la la. I loved it so much. And I apologize to this movie. I did not give it a chance. When I saw the trailer, I was underwhelmed. When I saw the poster, I was underwhelmed. When the name of the movie, it's like, whatever. But now that it's on Amazon Prime, oh my goodness gracious gravy, I cannot suggest to watch Smile enough. I love Smile. That would have definitely been on one of my top 10 if I had watched it in 2022. It's such a great movie. Everybody who's listened to the podcast in the past, I know you discussed this already, but if you haven't, it's about a young lady who's a therapist, and after witnessing a bizarre traumatic incident involving one of her patients, she becomes increasingly convinced she's being threatened by an uncanny entity. Ooh, my goodness. It has some great aspects of The Ring, has some great aspects Babadook, it has some great aspects of It Follows, and it's so smart and so well done. The only thing is, like, the Babadook, it trusts its audience to be smart enough to figure out that the Babadook is, the embodiment, the visualization of grief and shame and blame. While this one doesn't really, it lets you know It's about trauma. It
Yeah.
says it out loud. Trauma. This thing is a
Yeah.
trauma, which is fine. Not everybody watching movies is smart, and they can't always figure it out. And I appreciate that. But I love this movie, man. I give Smile 5 stars right from the get go. I'm glad it's on Amazon Prime now. If you haven't seen it yet, go there and watch it because it's a million times better than what I thought it was going to be like. Watch it, watch it, watch it. Uh, Now, I wasn't aboard the terror train at the time. What did you guys rate this one? How did you guys feel about this one, real quick?
I think I gave it about a 3.5, 4-ish, three and a
I
half.
gave it a 4.5. But it also made my end of the year top 10 list as well. I don't
Yeah.
remember where it was on that list, but I know it was on there. I think it was
Yeah, I
like
thought it
number
was good.
7 or 8 around there.
I
Yeah, I
don't
loved it.
remember if I had it on my top 10 list. I know it was definitely a contender that I kept playing with, like, oh, do I want this one on here? But
One of the things I really liked about that, just to stop back it, but like for a first time director, that guy directed the shit out of that movie. Like it
yeah.
was really shot after shot was interesting. And there's like if you start paying attention, there's like color palettes that come into play when things are happening and stuff. Like there's color palettes for the hospital, and there's color palettes when people have like the smile thing. There's a lot of undertones and stuff to it too. It's a really cool movie. It gets better with watching it again because I have watched it again since we saw it in the theaters when it got uploaded to streaming.
Nice to know. Good to know. Yeah, because this is one I would definitely buy now. I'd buy a physical copy so I could watch it downstairs. There are a lot of movies that I'm just like, well, I watched it on streaming. I don't need to buy it now. Crimes of the Future, decent movie, but I watched it on Hulu. I don't need to buy it. And there are a lot of movies like that. But Smile was such a great movie that I definitely got to buy this one. I got to have it in my collection. Why? Because when things are on streaming, they're not guaranteed to stay on streaming. And I like to have it, ready and willing and able to go when I want to watch it. You know what I'm saying, baby?
Hell yeah.
Also, I would recommend it's free to watch on YouTube and it's only 9 minutes. The
Mhm.
director's short film, which this is based on, like it's like the seed for this.
I think
It's
it's
A
even on
Girl's Name
Prime too.
Hasn't Slept. Like whatever the girl that stars in the short film, it's like let's say it'd be like Kelly hasn't slept. Something hasn't slept, but it's only like 9 minutes long, and it's really really good. It's really creepy. So definitely check that out too.
Nice to know. Yeah, Mr. Parker Finn, he knocked it out of the park with this debut full length movie, and I'm glad that I finally checked it out. I wish I saw it in the theater. But let's keep this train rolling on the tracks, shall we, Mr. Ruthless Chris? One more round, shall we? What's the last one you got to talk about, baby?
Um, so Kelly and I, we stopped off at our local new and used record store. And I dropped like $12 and I got a great stack of movies. Like I got like $12. Like I think I got like 9 or 10 movies.
I spent
And
$3 and got four.
yeah, they had like a dollar bin, and like a couple of them were like like 6 movie packs in the dollar bin. Like one of them was $1, and I bought it because it had Dust Devil on it. I was like, holy shit, Dust Devil for $1. The other one had like Jack Nicholson's Little Shop of Horrors, and it had Blood Tide with James Earl Jones and The Terror and shit like that on it. But I bought all those packs, and we went back to Kelly's place. And we kind of just went in blind on one, which was another one of those like dimension ones. And I kind of looked into it. This is the follow up. This is why the guy who I know what you did last summer doesn't have a career anymore. It's called Venom. Um, we went in blind to this fucking thing. I remember when I first started talking about I know what you did last summer a couple episodes back because I've been ranting about that one for a while now as I went through those movies. I was like, the guy who directed the first one, he made this big hit, and he only made like 3 other movies, and it's really weird. What the hell? This is the reason why. Um, what you got is a like a Bayou, Louisiana style horror movie. Um, you have the cast of generic teens. You have a tow truck driver who's a big motherfucker with a giant tow truck that everyone hates for no reason and treats like shit. And then you have a couple voodoo ladies. One night there is a car accident. This car is about to go over this ledge of a bridge. The tow truck driver tries to save the people inside, falls into the car. The car has a suitcase in it that's full of vipers, and he gets bit like 100 times. Why this thing is sinking in water? So like, not only is he drowning to death, but he's getting bit by like a million snakes.
Like 30 of them, maybe.
So it turns out these snakes all contain the evil of serial killers in them, and he like turns into this super undead serial killer. I'm not ruining anything because they just lay this out pretty fast. Any conversation in this movie is just exposition. Like it's just like, well, when I was a child, like they're pretty much just explaining everything to you in a conversation. Like, well, this and this and this happened to me. We had figured out about halfway through that this thing was supposed to have been in 3D. Like you ever watched a movie and like the way they're doing some of the scenes or some of the kills are like they filmed this for 3D. Like in one of them they're spraying a power washer right into the camera, and like we came up with that theory, and it turns out we were right because in the credits they had like a whole 3D cast and crew members working on this thing. And I guarantee this thing never made theaters to be in 3D. But because of that, a bunch of ridiculous shit happens. Like a woman getting plunged into a pole between two cars. At one point, the zombie truck driver attaches a chain to this house that they're in, and he just yanks out half the house. And the house, like the floorboards and the walls and all that, are still staying together, and they're in it, just getting pulled around in the grass. It's a weird little movie. Anytime it's in the day, it looks like complete and utter dog shit. Like you can't tell if it's in black and white or not because it's so color grained out. But then when it's at night, it looks great. It's really weird. Method Man plays a cop in this thing, which was odd to see. And he's not really doing it tongue in cheek. He says, "Hey, Method Man's a cop. We got him for like 2 days. Let's do something with him."
He's not in that long.
This one was bad. It was a real bad one. But I at least still had fun with it. I was laughing. Like watch this one like you watch like The Room or something, like if someone like really tried hard to make something and they just were so inept at what they were doing, it just was bad. That was this. In the right hands, this could have been a good movie. There was some cool lore going on. They had some voodoo stuff. The priestess had like kind of a demon knight situation where she could like seal doors with this red powder instead of like the demon blood.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. I mean, it was bad, but it was fun to watch. So in that spirit, I give it like 2.5. I'll probably never watch it again, but I had a blast while watching it. It has the most resilient blonde I've ever seen in it.
Oh yeah, that fucking.
At one point, this girl is just hauling ass, and the giant zombies behind her. He has this like what's got to be a 30-pound crowbar, and he just whips it as hard as he can over his head, and it just biffs her in the back of the head. And she should have been like mentally challenged after this thing. Like the rest of the movie, she should have been like blind in one eye and had like brain ooze drooling out of her fucking nose. But she still also has a tree fall on her at one point, and she was fine after that. It took her being held between two cars, Ella, the cart scene in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and running into a tree stump, which would have looked really cool in 3D, but not so much in 2D. Get rid of her. But yeah, this movie, there was a lot going on.
Yeah, you'd think after all that bullshit they put her through, she would have been like the final girl, but no, she wasn't.
You think that tree would have just bounced right? I mean, that bitch took a fucking crowbar shot to the head like it was nothing.
It just like bounced off the back of her head. She fell and got right back up.
Yeah. 30-pound crowbar. I mean, she was like, this dude was jamming this through people's like bodies and bones and shit. It was a heavy duty crowbar. I don't know. I'm done. What'd you think of it, Kelly?
I thought it was fun. It was really bad, but it was. I mean, there were some good kills. There were some. It was fun. You're right. The trees with the didn't that it was like a. You're right because it was like a pointy tree that went through her. It was because of the three.
Yeah, there was a split in the road, and in between the split, there's a down tree, and the stump was facing. But all this they had to do was let go on one side, should have been fine. So her friends are holding her on one side, and the demon tow truck driver holding her on the other. If the friends would have let go, she wouldn't have been impaled by the stump, and they could at least like figured out where to go from there. But they held on, and she was super dead. Maybe they thought after that crowbar shot she was indestructible, and that tree would just bounce right off her. I don't know.
No, it was a silly one. It was silly. I would be interested to see it in 3D as the way it was intended to be shown, obviously.
I don't think anyone's ever seen this thing in 3D.
Well, maybe they did. Maybe it was a very select few people, and that was what convinced them to be like, "Nah, we're not spending extra money to put this out in 3D." Who knows? I kind of remember when this came out on Blu-ray, or not Blu-ray, but DVD, because I was kind of sort of interested in it. It had an interesting concept, but I never took the plunge. I'm glad you did it for me, baby. You did a good job. I salute you. So, Kelli, what you got? What you got next to talk about?
Oh, this last one I just watched earlier today, and I'm not a fan. This is The Strays on Netflix. It's been, I don't know, it's been popping up in my suggestions for like a week now, and I finally gave in today. It's a 2023 British movie written and directed by Nathaniel Martello White. I didn't recognize anything else he has done, so yeah. But it opens with a woman. She's clearly sick of what she's going on in her life. She's extremely stressed out, and she takes off. And then this is kind of told in like chapters. You know, they've got the little announcement or like the text at the beginning of each chapter, and then it goes to the chapter Neve, which is, and it starts with this like beautiful girl. It's obviously the same girl, but she's living a completely different life. It's like years later, obviously. And you know, her life is perfect. She's like high society, obsessed with like everything being perfection. Her family's perfect, and but she keeps seeing somebody like show up in her life, and she thinks they're stalking her, and it you know, she's like, what the fuck is going on? It's hard to say without getting into too much detail here. The next chapter goes into who that person is, and I don't want to tell you too much. But I don't know. I found this one kind of slow, man. It was slow and boring. And like at one point, it just didn't really hold my attention that much. It does have revolve around like racial issues in some parts. But it was a little too slow for me. After like all this like dialogue building and creeping around, wasn't really very horror. It kind of turns into like a revenge sort of thing, which is like the third act, but by that point I think I was just kind of bored with it. I don't know. I wouldn't recommend it. I'd probably give it a 2.5. I'll give it a 2.5 to be fair, because maybe I just wasn't I wasn't into it, man. It just didn't do it for me. Slow. Too slow and boring, and not enough horror.
If you say it's slow and boring, baby, you know there's nothing I hate worse than a boring movie.
Yeah.
So once again, I saluted Chris, and I'm gonna salute you. Thanks for taking one for the team, baby. You did good.
It was all right. It wasn't like absolute dog shit. Like the production and everything was good. The acting and stuff was good. It just didn't do it for me. It was just slow. At the end, it did start to pick up a little, and that was a little interesting, but too little, too late.
Right. I hear you. I feel you. But it's funny, you know, we were discussing Shark Side of the Moon, which you said was complete dog shit, and and it's a horrible movie, but it was a lot of fun.
There's different kinds of bad. You know, right. We have different levels of bad. We understand this as
and boring. I think boring is worse than bad. You know what I'm saying? Because if it's bad,
there's good bad, and then there's just awful bad. Like you've got, we're all going to the World's Fair bad, which is not. That's just fucking awful. You know,
that is a big thumbs down.
Shark Side of the Moon is also fucking awful, but so fun. You know.
Yeah, I'll watch Shark Side of the Moon again at the drop of a fucking hat.
Yeah,
bad. Like I feel my scale is just because I give something 3 stars doesn't mean that it's a good movie. I was very entertained by it.
Yeah, that's
I go by
basically
my
how
fun
my
level.
rating system goes too. It's like, is this a good movie? It's whether I liked it or not. That's all my rating system's really based on.
That's legit. That's too
Yeah.
legit. I can't quit, baby. Fun is the most important thing when it comes to this, unless it's like stunningly beautiful and it's got a wonderful, crazy, torturous story or something where, torture movies aren't usually fun. But if it is a good movie, it's a good movie.
But
But
they're
if it's
also
fun,
good sometimes, yeah.
but if it's fun, it can go from a 2 to a 3 to a 3.5 pretty easily if it's fun. But
Or
boring
beautiful
is
even.
boring. And you
Hmm.
say the Strays on Netflix is boring. So 2.5, you're giving it, baby, right?
And that, yeah. If I could
That's
give it a
be
2.25, I think
all
that would be
right.
it.
That's being generous right there. All right. I'm gonna wrap up this Terror Train before we get into spoiler town. I'm gonna talk about another movie that I missed when I was in the theater last year that I really wanted to see. I got so excited when I saw that it's streaming on Hulu. It is not necessarily a horror movie, but it's definitely a genre film, and it's definitely weird, and it's definitely kind of fits in that weird, gross movie category that we love so much. This movie is called Triangle of Sadness. Ooh la la! This was a lot. This was a lot, and I thought that it was going to be a very serious movie, but it was far from serious. Darkly comedic, very gross. It is a film about a fashion model celebrity couple that join an eventful cruise for the super rich, and when they did the within like the first 5 minutes of the movie, you discover what the titular line "Triangle of Sadness" is. It's this little triangle of skin in the middle of your forehead that when you like squint your face, it makes a triangle of sadness, which made me laugh out loud.
That's
So
good.
I totally LOL'd at that moment. And then it goes on. There's a scene where like, oh, you got to smile for H&M, and then you frown for when you're doing expensive clothing. It's very funny. If you like a parody, it kind of pokes fun at the super rich and the super famous, and that's in Act One. Act Two takes place on this cruise that they talk about, and things are going weird as it is, but very funny. And then the cruise ship sort of hits turbulence, and the humor goes from being like awkward humor to being total potty humor to being total gross out humor, because when the turbulence hits, everybody on the ship starts throwing up, and like diarrhea starts shooting up from the toilets, and it's disgusting, and it goes on for a good amount of time, and it's just totally disgusting. Everybody, I can't even talk about it without laughing. There are certain people that would like turn the movie off at this point, but there are people like me that find other people throwing up in movies at least to be hilarious. And so I could not stop laughing, and I thoroughly enjoyed it because it was like it turned into a disaster film at this point. And that's fine. That is definitely a genre film trope, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Woody Harrelson plays the captain of the ship, and he plays like a weird uh sort of communist, and he's a drunk, and he's having like a big discussion, an argument with this Russian billionaire who is a capitalist. It is a very weird movie. Well, anyways, the turbulence that the ship is going through turns into a wreckage. There's like 5 people, 6 people left. Everybody else is dead, and it becomes like this Lord of the Flies situation. And the woman who was in charge of taking care of the toilets is now head of the island because she knows how to hunt, she knows how to fish, she knows how to take care of people. And she takes like the best looking model that was on the boat and turns him into her sex slave. It's it's a bizarre movie. It's gross. It's funny. I loved it so much. I definitely gave it a 4.5 soft 5. I'm giving out stars like there's no tomorrow today. I'm just watching good movies this week, and I can't believe it.
It's a good
Yeah,
problem to have.
You're right. Absolutely. If you're gonna have problems, baby, it's got to be watching good movies. But yeah, this one is streaming on Hulu. This is another one that I would probably, if I was given a chance to buy it, I would buy it just so I could watch like the making of and all that stuff because it is a wild film, babies. Yeah, if you get a chance. Now, you two, have you seen this? Have you heard about it?
I don't think so.
I it is on my radar. It's like something that people have been talking about, enjoying it. I didn't realize it was like potty humor kind of movie. I thought it was like an Oscar bait kind of movie for some reason. How people were talking about it. So now I'm much more interested in seeing it. I guess that shows my mentality. Where like, it's an Oscar movie. Yeah. Oh, it's potty humor. I'm in. I'm in. Okay. And Woody Harrelson. I always enjoy him in most things. He's usually a entertaining character no matter what he does. So I'm in. I'll give it a shot.
Well, the trailer and the people that were talking about it definitely led it to believe that it was more of like an elevated sort of genre film. And
Even the cover looks like it is.
absolutely, absolutely. And I don't think there are definitely different levels. Everybody could enjoy something about this movie, and I appreciate that about this. There are parts in it where, if you are a movie going fan, like we are, your mind is spinning. Like, what does this mean? What is this implying? What's the allegory? What's the subtext? And then there are other parts where you're just like, there are fountains of diarrhea and puke everywhere. That's hilarious, and I love it. So there's something for everybody.
You
So
had me at fountains of diarrhea.
I can't suggest Triangle of Sadness enough, babies. Another great movie. But I think it's time to wrap up our recap for the past couple of weeks and move into beep, beep, Spoiler Town on our feature presentation.
And now for our feature presentation.
Ooh la la, man, oh man. I can't believe how much fun, how much I loved the Cocaine Bear. How about you guys? Did you love Cocaine Bear?
Yeah, this one was a hoot.
I loved it. We had quite the experience, not only getting there, but through the movie itself. I'm pretty sure these two caretakers took a large group of mentally handicapped people that they were supposed to be taking to a children's film into this. Because when we were sitting there, like, I think there was like 8 of them. Like 2 nurses
There was
came
a
in
large
with, like,
group. I didn't really count.
like these people were obviously mentally challenged. Like some were in wheelchairs, some like we had to be helped, be like sat down and all this. And I'm like, why are they in Cocaine Bear? And like they were like randomly screaming at things, and like every time the bear came up, the one guy was just like, bear. So it was a strange screen. Like I said, I had to sneak in snacks, and everywhere from my hat to my hoodie pocket to my waistband. I brought in a lot of snacks on this when we hit the dollar store.
Yes.
But yeah, I loved Cocaine Bear. This movie, this is like I am the market demographic for a movie like this. Like they hook you with the title, and to where a lot of movies would fail, like Snakes on a Plane hooks you on the title, right? Kind of sucked in its execution. Cocaine Bear hooks you on the title, does not suck in its execution. It gives you exactly what you expected from this thing, but you also do end up like loving the bear, which was odd. And it's little couplings. Yeah,
You do kind of root for the bear towards the end of it, like, go bear, you get that cocaine.
I think it's because a lot of the characters were either unlikable or annoying.
Yeah.
Like you didn't give a shit about Ray Liotta's character. Like he was great in the movie, but you're like, you want him to die, especially when he starts like, gun belting, coked up cubs. The 3 thug kids, the one was pretty entertaining. The one they ended up bringing with them, I thought that kid was pretty fucking entertaining. The only guy that really bummed me out when he died was like the old detective with the dog.
Yeah.
I loved that character, and it was really sad to see him die. Like that guy, like was just such a Like the weird back storyline of him like adopting this dog and like it not being the dog he expected. He wanted like a golden retriever or something. He gets this little like
Beautiful
foo
Shih
dog with a
Tzu.
bow. Like he don't catch, he don't retrieve.
Yeah, man, oh man, oh man, oh man. There isn't too many movies in my lifetime. I'm old, baby. And there isn't too many movies in my lifetime that I've pre-ordered the tickets that I've gone to the very first showing of. And Cocaine Bear is one of those few movies that I did this for. I was so excited for it. And it was an amazing film. You know, it's based on a true story that happened all the way back in 1985. So, I mean, this makes it a wonderful period piece, too. You know, and it's interesting that it takes place. The original incident took place on September 11th, 1985. I was like, what is it with September 11th? But the original incident took place on September 11th, 1985. And I only got that because they discovered the pilot's body on that date. So actually, it probably takes place before that, but they discovered the body of the pilot that was throwing the cocaine out of the plane on that day. One of the people that citizens of Georgia, where this takes place, found this dead body laying in their driveway, and they didn't discover the bear until December. You know, the bear was dead in December. And it's funny because, you know, in the movie, we see the bear consume kilo after kilo and brick after brick. And, you know, I'm sure it's purely for exploitation purposes, because in the true story, the bear consumed 3 to 4 grams. And I'm like, bitch, that's whack. You know, who dies after 3 or 4 grams? Come on. You get a bloody nose and that's about it, baby. Come on. Don't be a pussy. Do some more blow. Just kidding.
You know,
don't do blow. But you know, it's an oddball film. It's very 80s. It's got lots of tropes from 80s movies, but they don't hit you over the head with that nostalgia porn. It's very smart the way that they do it. Like, even at the end when they're at that waterfall, you see the waterfall and you know they've got to jump off the waterfall, because in all those 80s movies, the kids had to jump off the waterfall, you know, to escape the bad guy or whatever it was. I loved every minute of it. You know what I'm saying? It was smart. It's well done. And, you know, I had that weird group of people from cops and criminals and tourists and teens, and they all converge in this forest. But then they're all trapped by this cocaine addicted bear that's on a murderous rampage, and just from unintentionally ingesting cocaine. It's such a brilliant concept. And it's funny because when I saw before I was even planning to see, well, no, I've been planning to see the movie since I heard the title. But when I first looked it up and it said it's directed by Elizabeth Banks, I was like, say
Right.
what?
Right.
Like Elizabeth Banks.
That was really interesting to me. It was like that. I know she fucks around with genres. She's been in like Brightburn and Slither and all that. Like, but
Oh, yeah,
I wouldn't
she was in
expect.
Brightburn.
Yeah, she was the mom in Brightburn.
Yeah. Right.
I would not have expected her to be who directed this movie. But one of the things I did like about it is like everyone like had a really interesting personality kind of going for them. Like you knew their defined character, you know, like the little blonde kid had a couple lines that fucking really cracked me up. Like, you know what? This kind of seems like the kind of thing that would really scar a man for life. I guess we'll see how that plays out.
I guess we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, like I also liked how the bear was cocaine motivated.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, the bear is like chasing the kid up the tree, but the other guy is up the other tree, but he's covered in cocaine, and he accidentally like knocks a little off himself, and the bear smells the cocaine, jumps down from the one tree and just goes up and mauls that guy because he's covered in cocaine.
I really like how when the bear breathes out, he just breathes out like puffs of cocaine. Like,
I like how you discover it's a lady bear because it does too much cocaine and passes out on a character at one point. and he exclaims that the bear's vagina is on his ear. That one made me spit out popcorn, I believe. Um, this movie
Baby,
was silly.
I was laughing. I was laughing from beginning to end. And I would have to say my favorite kill was when he did climb down the little boy's tree and up that grown man's tree and tore him to shreds. It was just blood and gore. I loved it. That was definitely my favorite kill in the movie, because that's when you realize, oh, this bear is going to rip up anything that smells like the cocaine. And I could not stop laughing. And you know what was funny? Usually I get very angry when people talk during the movies, and there was two teenagers right in back of us talked almost through the whole time, and I didn't give a fuck because it is a movie called Cocaine Bear. It's a ridiculous movie, and if they want to act ridiculous, I didn't care, which is wild. Usually, oh my God, that would ruin my day. I would be screaming about it until the cows come home, but this time, no way. The ridiculousness, the exploitation, the comedy, the gore, I was just thrilled to be there, babies.
Yeah, I normally that would kill me too. The fact that that there was like not only a large group of people, because we went and saw it opening night. But we were at an earlier show. I think it was like what, 5:30, Kelly? It was like 5:30.
Yeah, probably. It was like dusk. It was getting dark. So
but we did have a rowdy crowd, and then a large group of mentally handicapped people that were definitely having some reactions to the movie. It was a very loud cinematic experience, but I still had a blast with it. And one of the things we didn't mention is this thing does deliver on the gore.
Yeah.
It is a bloody fucking movie. Real bloody. Like, it goes out of its way to be gory at times, like the stretcher kill with Park Ranger.
Yeah.
Like getting his face dragged off and all that. Like, it was. This movie knew what it was, knew what people wanted to see, and it fucking delivered on it. And that's very rare. I also liked Ice Cube's kid. He was really good at it. Like that he was fucking cracking me up, because like the where he gets his finger shot off, it's like, it's not even the same. The fingers aren't even next to each other. How does that fucking happen? Like, the whole thing, it was a great movie. I can't recommend it enough. I'll give it 4.5. Definitely loved it.
I give it a 4.
Did you guys have a favorite kill from the movie?
I like the stretcher, the face dragged across the street. That was a good one. I'm trying to remember the other ones. Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it again, but yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that movie.
I very much liked the hiker lady in the beginning.
Oh yeah.
The what were they, Swedish? The Swedish hikers. That bear doesn't look right. Oh, it's okay. Let's take some pictures. And the next thing you know, she's getting eaten, and the fucking leg gets thrown at the husband and shit. I was like, oh God.
Yeah, that's good.
Ray Liotta's was pretty good too. All the deaths were very good. There was a lot of blood in this thing. And then there were some people that didn't even get killed by the bear, which I thought was hilarious. Like the cop gets killed by being shot, and so does one of the punk kids.
Yeah. Some of the kills weren't even the bear. You're right.
I did enjoy the weird, stupid underline of the dog, like I said before, and how the corrupt cop still ends up with the dog at the end, and hopefully it'll make her better. I don't know. It was silly, but yeah, this is one of those movies, when it was over, I was like, that was it. And then I looked like, oh shit, it's been an hour and a half. Like, it felt like it went by in like 40 minutes, Yeah.
And I love the soundtrack, when they had Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five doing White Lines. I was boogieing in my seat. I was singing along. It was such a good time. I had an after credits scene with the dog. It was very well done. I loved it. It's my favorite movie of 2023 so far. I know it's only March, but at the same time, it's there. It's top of the pops, baby. And I can't recommend it enough. I'm gonna give it 5. Fuck it, 5, baby, 5. 5 stars for Cocaine Bear. If you like exploitation, what's that?
They're giving out all the stars tonight.
All the stars, and all the bars, baby. You know what I'm saying? Because like, if you can make an exploitation movie, a funny exploitation movie that's an 80s throwback without making it feel like an 80s throwback, man, Elizabeth Banks, give her all the money, because they're already talking about a sequel. I know there's the knockoff Meth Gator,
Yeah,
the
Meth
Mock
Gator.
Luster. It's
Oh,
already out.
I'm definitely watching Meth Gator.
I think it might be on Tubi already. I'm not sure, but Meth Gator is out, but they've already started talking to her about making not necessarily a sequel, but like a spiritual sequel, you might say, called the Cocaine Shark, because there's a true story about cocaine being let go in an ocean, and she was in talks with it, but she loves the movie Jaws so much. She's like, I don't want to make fun of Jaws. And if it's going to be a
good shark
knockoff
movies
of
are hard to make.
Jaws, what's that?
Good shark movies are hard to make too.
Right. And that's the thing. She's like, I want to make it good. And also I love Jaws. I don't want to make fun of Jaws at all. So if we do make Cocaine Shark, it's got to be its own entity. So it'll be interesting if she does do a cocaine animal follow-up, or if this is a one and done. Either way, I say give Elizabeth Banks more money to make more exploitation films that are funny and gory and fun from beginning to end, and I'll be happy with that, baby. All right, well, let's wrap up this episode. You guys got any closing statements for the people listening?
Go see Cocaine Bear for sure.
Yeah,
it was
go watch that one. That's a good time.
And go watch Sharks on the Moon. Quit taking yourself so seriously. Shark Side of the Moon. Watch some dog shit. It'll enhance your life. I'm gonna go watch Deathbed after I'm done with this.
I was gonna watch Sometimes They Come Back Again.
Oh, the Greaser Stephen King thing?
Yeah.
The first one's good.
Is that the
No, I'm watching the second one.
That's the second one. Again is the second one.
Yeah.
I'll talk about that next week.
Well, we're going to keep it secret what we're going to do next week. It might be another feature movie. We might have a guest. Who knows? It's a mystery, baby. You got to stay tuned. And on that note, I'm going to say keep it spooky, keep it creepy, keep it real vile forever. And God bless America. Send nudes.
Woo!
Later.
Hey, all you cats and kittens, all you ladies and lady killers out there in real vile land. This is your old pal, Mr. Germ T. Ripper, saying keep it spooky, keep it creepy, keep it real vile forever. And don't forget, like, subscribe, and share all our content. Ow!